think Mrs. Parker Bowles was a factor in the breakdown of your marriage?
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
His remarks on divorced Catholics are making headlines this morning. He's calling for a more open church, one that embraces people who are divorced and remarried.
Has Pope Francis, at the age of 88, finally revealed a hidden truth about Diana that nobody saw coming? Shocking rumors suggest his recent statements might cast a shadow over the beloved princess's memory. From rumored conspiracies to Diana's tragic last moments, the Pope's long-withheld words are said to add a whole new twist. Could this bombshell open old wounds and trigger heated debates among the faithful and Diana's worldwide admirers? Pope Francis's hidden grief, unveiling his deep personal turmoil over Diana's passing. Long before he became known for his compassionate leadership, Pope Francis quietly carried a deep sadness that surprisingly connected him to Princess Diana. When her death shocked the world in August 1997, few imagined that a priest in Argentina, now the Pope, could be so profoundly moved by the people's princess. Yet, as Diana's story unraveled, filled with whispers of conspiracies and questions about her final hours in Paris, those close to Pope Francis say he experienced a unique anguish he rarely disclosed. According to some who knew him then, the Pope felt Diana symbolized empathy and kindness in a world that often forgets the vulnerable. He admired how she stepped outside traditional boundaries, embracing causes such as HIV awareness and landmine clearance. When he heard she had died in a tragic car crash, possibly chased by paparazzi, with theories of a mysterious white Fiat Uno and a driver's questionable blood tests, he became unusually withdrawn. He recognized that Diana, much like his own vision for the church, challenged a rigid system and paid a heavy price for her compassion. In private moments, Pope Francis is said to have wrestled with nagging questions. Was there more to her accident than met the eye? Could someone who fought so hard to help others truly meet such a harsh end without reason? While official reports blamed reckless driving and paparazzi, rumors lingered about secret letters predicting a staged accident and possible involvement of royals or intelligence agencies. Though Pope Francis did not endorse conspiracy theories, he could not dismiss the feeling that Diana was failed by institutions meant to protect her. His hidden sorrow often emerged when he counseled those grieving loved ones. He cited Diana's example as both caution and inspiration. If such a high-profile figure could feel lonely and unprotected, how could ordinary people find solace and justice? Yet he believed Diana's greatest legacy was her heart for the marginalized, mirroring his mission today, where he advocates for refugees, the poor, and others cast aside by society. Even as he rose to the papacy, Pope Francis rarely spoke of Diana in public, keeping his personal turmoil to himself. Still, her memory shadowed his humble approach to leadership. A quiet pledge to champion the oppressed, comfort the sorrowful, and stand beside those who feel misunderstood, just as he wished the world had stood by the late Princess of Wales. Broken silence. After decades, Pope Francis confronts rumors of a sinister conspiracy. For many years, whispers have floated around the Vatican corridors about a supposed secret tied to Princess Diana. Conspiracy theorists claim that Pope Francis, even before he led the Catholic Church, knew hidden details about Diana's final hours and kept them guarded. After decades of silence, it appears the Pope has finally spoken about these rumors, and his remarks have sparked a new wave of curiosity. Over time, the narrative around Diana's tragic death has become tangled in countless theories about government plots, British intelligence involvement, and mysterious white cars in tunnels. While most of these are unproven, they hold a powerful grip on the public imagination. What makes this situation so surprising is that Pope Francis, revered for his compassionate leadership and willingness to challenge church norms, had never publicly addressed any aspect of Diana's passing. People asked why he stayed quiet, but no clear answer emerged. Recently, though, a close confidant of Francis hinted at the Pope's wish to clarify unhelpful speculation around Diana's final days. According to insiders, Francis felt saddened watching the endless theories overshadow Diana's legacy of kindness. Despite his silence, he was reportedly moved by Diana's charitable work, her hands-on approach to helping the sick, the poor, and the marginalized. He believed her compassion mirrored the Church's core mission, to serve the vulnerable and speak for those who have no voice. In his remarks, Pope Francis neither endorsed nor condemned any specific conspiracy theory. Instead, he spoke firmly about the dangers of letting rumors tarnish the memory of a person, particularly someone who gave so much to others. He likened the swirl of gossip to clouds blocking out the sun, observing that speculation often distracts from the real impact of Diana's life and compassion. Though some insist the Pope's words are bad news, for anyone who clings to sinister plots, others say his measured stance only confirms the official findings, that Diana's death was a tragic accident, not a carefully laid plan. Yet fans of more dramatic possibilities remain unconvinced, believing the Pope's refusal to confirm their suspicions leaves the door open for more debate. Whatever one believes, Pope Francis's break from silence underscores a deeper message. While the truth about Diana's final moments may never fully satisfy every skeptic, her legacy of empathy offers a timeless lesson. In the end, perhaps that is the real story the Pope hopes the world will remember. White Fiat clues and secret letters. The Pontiff's search for the truth behind Diana's fatal crash. For years, the world has buzzed with theories about the tragic car accident that took Princess Diana's life. Yet, few would have guessed Pope Francis himself would show any personal interest in that fateful night in Paris. According to sources close to the Vatican, the Pope grew increasingly curious about the persistent rumors, particularly the alleged white Fiat Uno seen by witnesses, as well as the secret letters Diana wrote predicting an accident. Intrigued by the swirling questions, the Pontiff called for a closer look into these details, hoping to understand whether any deeper cause or cover-up lay behind Diana's heartbreaking end. One of the most compelling clues relates to the mysterious white Fiat reportedly in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel at the same time as Diana's car. Some witness accounts say that traces of white paint were later found on Diana's black Mercedes. Investigators in France tried to track down the driver of this unknown Fiat, but came up empty-handed. Stories soon spread that the vehicle might have intentionally clipped Diana's car, forcing it to lose control and slam into a support pillar. No official conclusion was ever reached, fueling suspicions that perhaps a sinister hand was at work. The Pope's deep curiosity led him to question how so many pieces of evidence seemed to vanish or never be fully explained. He carefully reviewed the letter Diana wrote to her butler, Paul Burrell, in which she expressed fears of a plot against her. She mentioned a plan that could involve brake failure and produce a severe head injury, an eerie echo of how she would eventually lose her life. That level of foresight reignited the public's interest, and apparently, the Pope's as well. While Pope Francis is not personally accusing any agency or official figure of wrongdoing, he has reportedly shared his sorrow that Diana's generosity and kind spirit have been overshadowed by endless speculation. Nevertheless, his private inquiries into the white Fiat clues highlight his belief that truth and transparency matter, even decades later. He worries that conspiracies distract from Diana's true legacy, her compassion, her bold humanitarian efforts, and the empathy she showed to others. Old wounds in the Vatican, how paparazzi pursuit haunts. Pope Francis's recollections of Diana long before he became the worldwide symbol of openness and compassion. Pope Francis quietly wrestled with troubling memories tied to Princess Diana's untimely death. Although their paths never officially crossed, the Pope's early experiences watching the media storm around Diana left a deep impression on him. He was, at that time, still serving in Argentina, and heard countless stories about how paparazzi allegedly hounded the Princess of Wales until her final moments. In the Vatican, such relentless media pursuit has new resonance for the Pope, reminding him of how quickly heartfelt compassion can be overshadowed by public spectacle. Sources suggest that, in private conversations, Pope Francis sometimes references the late princess and points out how her philanthropic activities, and even her personal struggles, were often eclipsed by camera flashes. In particular, the catastrophic crash that claimed Diana's life has reportedly stirred the Pope's enduring sadness. Although official investigations blamed reckless driving and paparazzi pursuit, rumors of conspiracies and hidden truths lingered. While Pope Francis doesn't indulge in the conspiratorial side of Diana's story, he remains disturbed by how little respect was shown for her personal space and well-being. Within the Vatican walls, whispers say the Pope occasionally uses Diana's experience to caution against the global obsession with spectacle. He has observed how figures of great compassion, like Diana, can be torn apart by invasive reporting. Unlike many before him, Pope Francis sees a direct connection between the media frenzy hounding Diana back then and the current challenges public figures face when trying to maintain authenticity. For him, the takeaway is that unbridled gossip and excessive intrusion can warp even the noblest efforts to help others. This continues to inform his approach to leadership. The Pope often emphasizes a more tender, person-centered faith rather than lofty titles or rigid customs. By highlighting Diana's charitable work, he calls for renewed empathy, an embodiment of love for the marginalized, the sick, and the ostracized. Consequently, Vatican insiders note that the Pope urges bishops and priests to reject fame-driven behavior and instead honor the dignity of anyone in distress, a lesson he believes was tragically underscored by Diana's tumultuous final hours. A tragic underpass and an untold Vatican mystery. Pope Francis reflects on Diana's final hours. Late one August night in 1997, a black Mercedes careened into the Pont de l'Alma underpass in Paris, forever changing the world's relationship with Princess Diana. That dimly lit tunnel, now almost a somber shrine, became the stage for relentless questions about the exact cause of the crash. Conspiracy theories about a white Fiat Uno supposedly grazing Diana's car, unanswered questions about the driver's alcohol levels, and rumors of secret letters forecasting the tragedy have fueled speculation for decades. Yet, there is another layer to this story that seldom comes up, one that some call the untold Vatican mystery. While no official document points to direct Vatican involvement, whispers suggest that certain high-ranking church figures quietly probed the crash, disturbed by how one of the world's most compassionate royals could be lost so suddenly. From early on, Pope Francis, then not yet the pontiff, was reportedly unsettled by news of Diana's passing, troubled by the way the press and other powerful interests might have brushed aside possible evidence. Those close to him say he carried a personal sorrow, seeing how quickly tragedy pounced on someone who devoted her life to helping others. Over time, speculation grew that mysterious details of the crash might have crossed Vatican desks. Rumblings of hush-hush phone calls, a rumored sealed envelope containing testimonials about that fateful night, or even concerns over British intelligence. Although there is no concrete proof the Holy See possesses hidden files on Diana's death, the question lingers. Could the Vatican's deep channels of global information have uncovered missing pieces of that puzzle? In the same spirit of quiet investigation, recent stories about Pope Francis show he is not afraid of shedding light on tough subjects. From addressing corruption within the Church to tackling controversies about same-sex blessings, he has demonstrated a willingness to face difficult truths. If the Vatican did come across any unexplored facts about Diana's final moments, one wonders whether Pope Francis's push for transparency might have urged a new look at the event. The official record still labels Diana's crash as a tragic accident, influenced by paparazzi pursuit and reported driver negligence. But the overlapping threads, white paint scrapes, talk of suspicious letters, and alleged hush-ups keep curiosity alive. And for some, the idea of an untold Vatican mystery carries a gentle reminder. Even in an age of unending media coverage, certain stories may still hold secrets hidden beneath old stone walls. Emotional restraint versus healing. The Pope's struggle to process Diana's death in the public eye. For decades, Pope Francis kept any personal feelings about Princess Diana's tragic passing hidden behind a gentle, composed exterior. As the Roman Catholic Church's leader, he felt obligated to project calm and reassure believers of God's guidance in a world full of questions and heartbreak. Yet, behind the Vatican walls, sources claim he quietly fought a private battle, torn between the Church's tradition of emotional reserve and his own deep empathy when recalling how Diana's life ended so abruptly. Early on, Pope Francis felt an intense sorrow, partly from observing the relentless media pursuit that trailed Diana until the final hours of her life. He empathized with the sense of isolation that comes from living under constant public scrutiny, especially when one's every move is dissected. While he never publicly addressed her tragic death, those close to him suggest he wrestled with difficult questions. How could someone so devoted to charity and compassion face such turmoil and end up in an underpass crash that sparked endless rumors of conspiracies? Inside the Vatican, the Pope withdrew into silent reflection whenever news articles revisited Diana's final night. He worried that he, like many others, had become an unintentional bystander to a culture obsessed with celebrity coverage at any cost. Some staff members subtly noted that the Pope used Diana's story as a cautionary example in private speeches. He warned of letting fame overshadow a person's genuine acts of kindness and compassion. Acts that should be cherished, not drowned out by paparazzi flashbulbs. As time passed and the Church itself underwent changes, facing calls for greater transparency and openness, Pope Francis found the courage to explore the tension between emotional restraint and healing. He realized that showing humanity, even as the Pope, could help others come to terms with their own grief. Thus, he began gently encouraging the faithful to talk more about personal loss, to seek counseling or spiritual guidance, and to embrace empathy over formality. Still, he stopped short of offering any official church statement on Diana's death, preferring to keep her memory free from doctrinal debates. Instead, he quietly honored her example, reminding people that heartfelt compassion should outshine speculation. In this way, the Pope navigated a delicate path, honoring the Church's tradition of reserved leadership while also nurturing a deeper, human-driven healing that Diana's memory has, in his view, long deserved. From heartbreak to advocacy. How Diana's loss inspired Pope Francis to emphasize empathy. Long before he became the Pope that many know today, Francis quietly carried a deep emotional burden surrounding Princess Diana's death in 1997. Though separated geographically from the British royal family, he could not escape the enormous global sorrow that followed her passing. As stories of Diana's generous spirit and tragic end reached him, the then Archbishop in Argentina found himself deeply moved by her compassion for the marginalized, a commitment he would later bring into his own worldwide ministry. According to those who knew him during that time, Pope Francis grew increasingly aware of how relentless media coverage had affected Diana. Her every move, both charitable and personal, was captured and sometimes distorted. This unrelenting glare also reminded him of the Church's own struggles in communicating God's kindness amid public scrutiny. Diana's devotion to helping others, visiting hospitals, consoling those with HIV, supporting landmine victims, resonated with his core belief that faith must stand alongside the forgotten. In the years ahead, Pope Francis carried that sense of heartbreak as he rose through the Church's ranks. He felt that Diana's humanitarian work was an example of empathy the world sorely needed, especially within religious institutions. When Francis became Pope, he began reminding the faithful that no one should be isolated or judged, pointing back to what he saw as Diana's legacy, standing by those who felt abandoned. Over time, the Pope's public addresses highlighted values that echoed Diana's approach: empathy, open arms to the suffering, and a commitment to bridging gaps in society. In charitable initiatives worldwide, from supporting refugees to championing prison reform, he maintained a consistent message: personal warmth over strict formality. Secretly, he linked this heartfelt style back to what he called the lesson of a princess who walked among the poor, seeing Diana's humanity as proof that fame and compassion could coexist. Even now, Pope Francis's focus on empathy continues to grow. At Vatican gatherings, he speaks about connecting with real people rather than reciting official statements. He hopes that by recognizing the pain behind Diana's final days, her sense of being hounded, misunderstood, and sometimes left without a lifeline, others might learn the importance of genuine care. Through quiet but earnest advocacy, Francis channels Diana's memory and heartbreak into an ongoing call for kindness, a belief that true healing begins with taking each other's burdens seriously, be it in a remote shelter or the grand halls of Rome. Confronting the royal cover-up, Pope Francis weighs in on alleged intelligence involvement. When news first broke of Princess Diana's tragic accident in the Pont de l'Alma underpass, conspiracy theories quickly followed. Was something more sinister at work than just a high-speed crash chased by paparazzi? Various witnesses mentioned a white Fiat Uno that may have grazed Diana's car. Others pointed to reports that Diana herself had penned warnings about a staged accident. Even alleged evidence tampering, such as hasty cleanups and ignored witnesses, led to whispers of British intelligence playing a hidden role. These rumors, although never proven, still captivate global attention. Enter Pope Francis, whose deep curiosity about Diana's final hours has only grown with time. Privately, he has consulted Vatican resources to see if any unspoken clues could spill light on what really happened. While the Pope does not explicitly endorse conspiracy theories, he does acknowledge the strange set of details tied to the crash, like the white Fiat's alleged disappearance and Diana's reported forebodings. In his view, the potential involvement of intelligence agencies underscores a larger moral issue. Powerful institutions sometimes spin events to protect their own interests, leaving victims and families to cope with unanswered questions. Unlike earlier pontiffs, Pope Francis is known for speaking candidly about uncomfortable topics. His desire for transparency has sparked speculation that he might encourage a fresh look at British documents or support an in-depth interview with individuals linked to intelligence circles. He sees parallels between the hush surrounding Diana's final moments and the Church's struggles with secrecy in its own history. For him, a real quest for truth, no matter how unsettling, plays a crucial role in healing public trust. Pope Francis also recognizes Diana's heartbreak over being relentlessly pursued by the media. The fact that intelligence circles, or at least rumored ones, might have contributed to her vulnerability raises significant moral questions in his mind. Whether or not intelligence operatives truly played a role, the Pope insists that rumors of an orchestrated cover-up should never dominate Diana's legacy. Instead, he aspires for people to remember the princess's empathy and beloved humanitarian work. Missteps and mistrust. Francis's fractured ties with the palace spark global speculation. Tensions have long simmered behind the Vatican walls, but recent whispers suggest Pope Francis's once courteous relationship with the British royal family may now be on shaky ground. Though neither party has openly accused the other of wrongdoing, stories swirling in the media point to a series of misunderstandings and disagreements, from the Pope's progressive opinions on social issues to subtle slights during royal events. One alleged source of friction is connected to the Pope's outspoken stance on welcoming refugees, protecting the environment, and advocating for a deeper sense of global empathy. While many within the royal family admire his dedication, there are rumors that certain palace advisors feel his unfiltered approach often stirs controversy. Some suggest the monarchy prefers a more measured tone, especially when grappling with sensitive matters, leading to quiet discomfort each time Pope Francis delivers a bold statement. Then there's the question of protocol. Insiders claim that during a formal event some time ago, a minor breach in etiquette by a Vatican representative caused embarrassment for a key royal figure. Although no official statement was made, the incident allegedly prompted murmurs about whether the Pope's circle showed enough respect for the palace's traditions. Combined with occasional differences in how best to address pressing humanitarian challenges, these cultural missteps have apparently widened the gap. Rumors also link this rift to the Pope's empathetic response in events related to Princess Diana's memory. Some say Francis privately questioned certain details tied to the tragic crash that claimed her life, sparking anxiety within royal circles. While his interest in Diana's final hours may have simply sprung from compassion, palace sources fear it could rekindle conspiracy theories they've spent years trying to put to rest. The Pope's quiet but persistent curiosity might have been interpreted as stirring up old wounds. Meanwhile, the global press has seized on each hint of tension, portraying it as evidence of a deeper power struggle between two historic institutions. Supporters of Pope Francis see him as a champion of transparency, unafraid to address myths about Diana's passing or encourage fresh perspectives on moral teachings. Palace loyalists, however, bristle at what they see as a potential challenge to royal authority, bringing light to a tunnel of secrets. Why Pope Francis's candid views on Diana still shock the world decades have passed since Princess Diana's tragic end in the Pont de l'Alma underpass, but the world remains fascinated by her story. This ongoing interest took an unexpected turn when Pope Francis began quietly sharing his own views on Diana's death. Even for a pope known for his openness, these reflections felt surprisingly bold, and they continue to amaze people around the globe. From the start of his papacy, Pope Francis displayed a willingness to tackle challenging subjects, be it reforming bureaucracy within the Vatican or speaking openly about moral failings in society. However, when rumors surfaced that he had taken a deeper interest in Diana's final hours and the mysteries surrounding that night in Paris, many were caught off guard. Given the Vatican's history of maintaining a measured distance from worldly scandals, his readiness to address these swirling conspiracy theories, murmurs of a white fiat, unclear blood test reports, and hush-hush letters stand out immensely. According to reports from those close to him, the Pope's interest stems less from chasing conspiracies and more from a desire for truth and empathy. He finds it heartbreaking that a woman deeply committed to humanitarian causes, spreading awareness of HIV, supporting the removal of landmines, reaching out to the disadvantaged, might have been hounded to her death by a frenzy of paparazzi and intrusive speculation. The Pope's central concern mirrors his broader message to the Church. Shouldn't we protect lives and honor the vulnerable instead of fueling gossip? Adding to people's surprise is his willingness to mention rumors of British intelligence involvement or possible tampering with evidence. While he stops well short of endorsing any singular conspiracy, the Pope does believe some unanswered questions and inconsistencies warrant an honest exploration. This readiness to question official narratives has led some to declare him too bold, but it also resonates with those who still seek closure. Most of all, Pope Francis's words strike a chord because they connect a royal tragedy to a universal lesson of compassion. When he speaks of Diana, he doesn't dwell on scandal. Instead, he highlights her caring spirit and wonders why we, as a global community, allow curiosity to overshadow someone's goodness. By daring to question accepted stories and champion Diana's empathetic nature, Pope Francis shines a light on a tunnel of secrets, one that still captivates the world, reminding us that sometimes the simplest acts of kindness are the greatest mysteries of all. In a shocking turn of events, the veil of secrecy surrounding the British royal family has been lifted, revealing a stunning rift between Carol Middleton and Queen Camilla. The once cordial relationship between the mother of Catherine, Princess of Wales, and the Queen Consort has imploded, leaving a trail of controversy and intrigue in its wake. As the news sends shockwaves through the palace and beyond, one question remains. What led to the breakdown of this high-profile relationship? In this explosive exposé, we'll delve into the secrets, scandals, and controversies that ultimately led to the public feud between Carol Middleton and Queen Camilla. Get ready for a jaw-dropping journey into the hidden world of the British monarchy and the stunning events that have left everyone speechless. As the drama unfolds, insiders close to the royal family speak out about the tensions that have been simmering beneath the surface for months. It's been a long time coming, says a palace source. Carol and Camilla have fundamentally different personalities and values. It was only a matter of time before things came to a head. But what exactly sparked the feud? Was it a disagreement over royal protocol, a clash of personalities, or something more sinister? As we dig deeper, a complex web of alliances, rivalries, and secrets emerges. From the lavish parties and charity events to the closed-door meetings and whispered conversations, we'll take you on a journey into the inner workings of the royal family. You'll meet the key players, uncover the hidden agendas, and discover the shocking truth behind the rift that's rocking the monarchy. So, buckle up and get ready for a wild ride. The palace gates are about to swing open, and the secrets that lie within are about to be exposed. The complex web of royal relationships, Camilla and Carol's turbulent past. Long before the dramatic revelation that would shake the palace to its core, Camilla, the Queen Consort, and Carol Middleton, the mother of Kate Middleton, had a complex and tumultuous relationship. On the surface, the two women seemed to have a cordial and respectful relationship, bound together by their connections to the royal family. However, beneath the facade of politeness and courtesy, a cauldron of tension, jealousy, and resentment simmered. The roots of their strained relationship date back to the early days of Kate and Prince William's courtship. Carol, eager to ensure her daughter's place within the royal family, had been meticulous in her efforts to build a rapport with Camilla. At first, Camilla appeared warm and welcoming, extending an olive branch to Carol and her family. However, as time passed, Carol began to sense a growing unease beneath Camilla's polished exterior. Camilla, it seemed, was not as thrilled about Kate's ascension into the royal family as she had initially let on. The Queen Consort had always envisioned a more traditional and aristocratic bride for Prince William, and Kate's middle-class background and lack of royal pedigree had raised eyebrows. As the wedding preparations got underway, the tension between Camilla and Carol grew thicker. Camilla would often make subtle jabs at Carol's expense, belittling her family's social status and questioning her daughter's suitability as a future princess. Carol, determined to rise above the queen's condescending attitude, bit her tongue and maintained a dignified silence. However, the seeds of resentment had been sown, and the relationship between the two women continued to deteriorate. In the years that followed, Camilla and Carol's interactions became increasingly strained. They would exchange polite smiles and empty pleasantries at royal gatherings, but the underlying tension remained palpable. The final straw came when Camilla began to exert her influence over Kate, attempting to mold the young Duchess into a more traditional and subservient royal wife. Carol, sensing her daughter's unhappiness and frustration, knew she had to act. And so, the stage was set for the dramatic confrontation that would change everything. Carol Middleton, fueled by her desire to protect her daughter and expose Camilla's manipulative ways, was ready to unleash a bombshell that would shake the palace to its foundations. Royal rift exposed. Carol Middleton dropped